A trip to San Antonio on the line in San Francisco. Todd Golden, 1 seed Florida, against Grant McCasland and 3 seed Texas Tech. Late first half, Walter Clayton Jr. knocks it loose. Thomas Houck, let me get that steal, let me get that dunk. Gators up by 3 at the break. And remember, Texas Tech rallied from 16 down to get here. Florida 27-0 when leading at halftime this season. Early second half, Texas Tech down 2. Darian Williams posting up. Hook shot, good. We're tied at 42. Minute later, Elijah Hawkins to Williams for 3. Nails it. Up 3. Caps an 8-0 run. A few minutes later, Texas Tech up 1. Houck blocked by Federico. Ensuing Texas Tech possession. Hawkins behind the back to Chance McMillan. 3rd leading scorer. Welcome back. Missed the last 4 games with an upper body injury. Red Raiders up 4. Just over a minute later, off the missed floater, Elijah Martin comes up with it and throws it down. Strong with the right hand. We're tied at 55. Martin had 10. Minute later, Texas Tech up 2. McMillan. Friendly roll on the floater. Red Raiders up 4. Just under 8 to play. Christian Anderson to Federico. Alley-oop. Up 10. Caps a 12-2 run for Texas Tech. Their largest lead of the game. Can they hang on? Just under 3 to play. Walter Clayton Jr. to Houck. Got it. Down 6. Next Florida possession. Houck. My name is Thomas Houck, and I get buckets. Down 3. He finished with 20 points, 11 rebounds off the bench. Next Florida possession. Clayton. Step back. Clutch. We're tied at 75. Caps a 9-0 run. Not done. Clayton. Behind the 3-point line. A big boy bucket. 22 of his 30 in the second half. You want to talk about clutch? He's clutch. Texas Tech with a chance to take back the lead. Oh, the emotion of March. 37 seconds left. Texas Tech down 1. Williams for 3. No. Martin gets the board. Ensuing Florida possession. Gators trying to get it out of the backcourt. Texas Tech not fouling initially, but then they do foul. But did it happen before 10 seconds? Grant McCasland seems to think so. Take another look. Refs uphold the call. So, going to the free throw line. Martin would sink both to go up 3. Ensuing Texas Tech possession. Williams for the tie. No. Remember, he tied the game against Arkansas to force overtime. That perhaps would have sent it to overtime, and Florida seals it at the line where they were an eye-popping 25 of 27. Make your free throws, kids. Todd Golden and the Gators chomp, cutting down nets in San Francisco, ultimately looking to cut down nets in San Antonio, advancing to the Final Four for the first time since 2014. How'd they do this? They ended the game on an 18-4 run over the final 3 minutes. Consider they hit 4 of their final 4 3-pointers after starting 5 of 20. Chomp, on to the Final Four. Live coverage continues here on CBS Sports HQ. Back out to San Francisco. Texas Tech head coach Grant McCasland at the podium.
Just 24 hours to get to play. I'm curious what you feel like he embodies in terms of the players you like to bring into this program.
I told the guys we do a free shoot the night before we play on the road. If we get in early enough and it's an evening game and it's open, they can do whatever they want. And Chance goes to the block and does form shooting on both ends, and then he goes to the free throw line, and then he shoots 3s at each spot, and he does it on both ends. Then he goes back to the free throw line and finishes till the end of the clock. And he just is – he is diligent and he's focused. And to me, I did not think he was going to really play. I went into the game thinking he would play maybe a couple of minutes if we had him but he warmed up, and the whole staff was like, let's put him in there early and see how he does. And man, it's almost miraculous what he was trying to do, really. And we didn't win the game, so it doesn't have the same thrill for everybody to write stories, but to me, in my heart, it doesn't change anything. What he was willing to sacrifice for the guys to put himself in position, I don't think anybody really understands it. And in my heart and in our guys' hearts, they know that he loved them that much, that he was willing to do whatever. There's not many times you get to see guys do that, and he did. And that's how he lived his life, and that's how he approached the whole season, and that's how he was every day. It's not today. It's how he was every day, and that's why we got the opportunity to be in the Elite Eight, and it really does hurt that we couldn't win it and give him another opportunity to compete.
Kyle Bonnegar with ESPN. Clayton obviously hit some big shots down the stretch. What about him is just hard to match up against? And then he also has that ability to get to the line as well.
Yeah, that was the part that honestly I was disappointed in, was just that he got to the free throw line so much. And, yeah, he's a hard cover. He just is so difficult. He can hurt you in so many different ways. He's dynamic at shooting, but he's crafty in his change of pace, and they do such a good job of moving the ball. And we decided we were going to live with those forwards making threes, and that's what made it difficult when you're keying on him, and then he's starting to get fouled. And then other guys need to step up, and they did. I did think we got fatigued late, like that last 5 minutes. We didn't quite keep two on him. We lost him twice, but his motor's real, and his ability to get a shot off is and that's a great Florida team. And I do want to give them a ton of credit, because they had a good plan for the last 5 minutes, and I didn't do a good enough job of keeping the ball out of Clayton's hands, and I didn't do a good enough job of getting our guys in the right position offensively so that we could finish the game and win it.
Hey, Coach, Jared Johnson, inside the Red Raiders. There was a big difference in terms of the free throw line attempts. They attempted almost twice as many, but then they also made at 92%, while y'all were 53, 54%. For such a good free throw shooting team for the year, it seems like that's cropped up in some tough times, some bad free throw shooting. I just wonder why you think that happened tonight. Was it fatigue, or what went on?
We have been a great free throw shooting team all year long. And unfortunately, I just think JT got in a rut. And, I mean, he's the one that missed 5 of them. And other than that, Darian Williams, I know they were trying to intentionally foul at the end, and we recognized it. That's where I didn't do a good enough job, but they weren't trying to intentionally foul Darian Williams. That was a mistake. And then he just went up there and missed the front end of the 1-and-1. And, in these moments, that's not what got us beat. And I'm not just saying that as coach speak. I just feel like we pushed the tempo a little too quick late in the game and rushed some things that I felt like if we had a little more composure, and then if we would have been able to defensive rebound and limit the threes from Clayton, then I think that would have been the difference in the game for me. And so, I mean, obviously, who doesn't want to make free throws? Everybody does. Nobody steps up there and misses intentionally, especially in those moments. And I know everybody likes to, but I think there's more effort things involved in this game that we could have done better, and I could have done a better job coaching us down the stretch to put us in better positions.
Scott Howard Cooper from Hoops HQ. When Florida starts getting on that run where they're hitting the string of threes that you mentioned with Clayton in particular, what does that do to a defense? How does that change what you want to do, and also emotionally, how does it change?
I thought number 10 Thomas's threes were the ones that really hurt us, but those were the ones that we were willing to give up because of the putting 2 on the ball and the rotation. And we actually got a great contest and did make Clayton miss. We just couldn't rebound it. That, to me, that's the difference. I mean, we did end up with 14 offensive rebounds, but the offensive rebounds on the miss, those are the ones that you can't give up.
Nathan Geese, Lubbock Avalanche Journal. I know you hate when I ask you broad stroke questions, but when you took over, you said you feel like you can win a title here, and you got so close to coming into this point. What have you learned throughout this whole process of the 2 years to get to this point that you're going to take with you the most moving forward as coach here?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's the character of your guys and their will to win and their heart and love for each other. And I thought it was on full display with Darian Williams playing through injury and Chance McMillan playing through injury, and then the guys that we added to the roster. I told him in the locker room, like Kerwin Walton was just always ready. And I don't even know if we play in this game because of how great he was in that UNC Wilmington game. we're here. So, I mean, you just never know who it's going to be. But those guys were so willing to do whatever it takes to win. And I think that's the foundation of what we'll do moving forward, is making sure those guys, and those guys we added, like Elijah Hawkins, how awesome was he? You know, I mean, he has a triple-double almost in the NCAA tournament, and he was unbelievable on Clayton. I mean, Clayton didn't make a three, I think, for a majority of the game till we got toward the end, and it was a big part of it was Elijah, but he did draw some fouls on Elijah. But I thought his competitiveness changed the complexion of their offense and really made them, you know, less dynamic. But them getting to the free throw line and getting fouled was really difficult. But man, just the heart of these guys that we've added and the guys that were here, they all really want to win. They don't care about individual performances, and you know, that's the thing I think moving forward we'll keep focusing on.
Last one from the room here.
And then you got a couple of seniors moving out. JT and Darian have some pro aspirations that they have to kind of consider. And you kind of mentioned it with the portal and everything shifts. Is it even more important now to focus on, like, each season is its own thing rather than trying to take all of this and moving into the next one, because you just never know?
Yeah, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that this group of guys, I think, did get a taste and did get to see what it means to really love your teammates the way that I think God tells us to give everything we have. And I mean it. Like, how do you give everything you have? How do you lay down your life? How do you sacrifice for other people? How do you love other people in a real way? And I think that's what builds from year to year.
Coach.
And I believe that's the heart of the guys that we have, and that's what will be the most important part of these rosters, is that heart. And we'll be able to do it with the guys that we'll have returning because of it.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Back here in studio with the big men, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle, Adam Finkelstein. Hunter, this game was incredible. It was sweaty when you're watching it. It was exciting. It was thrilling. A 10-point lead for Texas Tech with 6 minutes to play. How the heck did Florida get this done?
Two guys, Sam Houck.
Thomas
Houck, Walter Clayton Jr. I mean, those two guys down 10 in the under 4. And, I mean, those were two big shots by Houck and then two more big shots by Walter Clayton. I mean, they went on an 18-4 run in the last 2:40 to close out the game. Adam said it. They find ways to win in multiple different areas. They don't have to worry about one or two guys to rely on to hit big shots. They're so deep that they can have a multitude of guys hit big-time shots. And so, I mean, you know, that's why I think they're the best team in the country.
Tim, I want to take you back to that play. We just showed it in the highlight. Walter Clayton drives in. They close him off. He dribbles out to the three-point line and takes that shot. There are not a lot of kids in this country, in this basketball, Division I, wherever the country you're playing basketball, I don't care where you're playing, there's not a lot of kids that are going to make that shot. They're going to dribble out and hit that.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best basketball players in the country. There's no other way
Here
to
it
say
is again.
I got to be honest, when he was doing this, I did not think this was a good shot. Okay?
No, I'm aware.
It kind of like defies everything in basketball you're taught as a young player. Dribbling away from the basket, turning around, and then shooting a three-pointer. This was a really good look. But at this point, the wheels had completely come off for Texas Tech. Full disclosure, with 3 minutes and 52 seconds, Texas Tech was up 9. Hunter Dickinson and I gave our breakdowns what we wanted to see. He wanted to see Darian Williams post-ups, domination. I wanted to see JT Toppin, jump hooks, get into his left hand. Both those guys were awesome. But both of those guys, Adam, missed key front ends of 1-and-1s. So not only did they miss free throws, they had an opportunity to get 4 points. They got 0. And when a team's making a run like that, you got to stop the bleeding. You got to make your free throws. On the flip side, Akeem, Florida 25 of 27 free throws.
Make your free throws, kids. We'll continue the conversation here in studio in a moment. Florida on to the Final Four for the first time since 2014. It's their 6th in school history. They have won 2 national titles and now 2 wins away from another one in San Antonio. All right, back out to San Francisco. Welcome in CBS Sports college basketball analyst Dan Bonner, who helped call this game. Dan, how the heck did Florida win that game? They were down by 10 with 6 minutes to play.
Well, Akeem, they're a pretty tough bunch, and you guys, I heard you guys talking about it. With a team like Florida, they're like a vampire. You got to put the stake in their heart. If you leave the door open, they're going to take advantage of it, and they were up 75-69 when Texas Tech missed the first front end of the 1-and-1. Houck went down and scored a 3, so now it's 75-72, and they came back and they missed the other front end of a 1-and-1, and then Florida was able to tie it up. And once you get to the end of a close game with these guys, they just give it to Walter Clayton, and he takes over.
Dan, you were a great player yourself. You were a coach as well in Division I. You saw what Thomas Houck was able to do. You saw what Walter Clayton Jr. was able to do, those 4 threes in a row. What was so incredible about them making those shots late?
Well, they're big shot makers, and I think you have to have, there's a certain mindset that you have to take the shot in that situation, and so they both have that mindset. But they played very well, but I'm telling you now, the other guys for Florida, they're a very deep team. I thought Richard played really well. I thought Martin played really well. I thought the other big guys played really well. These guys are going to be a tough out.
Yeah, when you make 25 of your 27 free throws, going to be difficult to beat. And when you can have big shots like that, time after time after time, this is a national championship contender. If you can come back from down 10, Florida can cut down the nets.
There's no question about that. This is a team, you look, they're one of the country's top offensive teams. They're one of the country's top defensive teams. They get up and down the court very quickly. They're a great fast breaking team. How many times did we see in this game today where Texas Tech would make a shot and suddenly Florida's shooting a layup down in the other end? I mean, they're just very difficult to prepare for. They've got guys who can play every aspect of the game.
Dan, appreciate you taking time with us here on CBS Sports HQ. Great call on the game as well. That was thrilling. Appreciate your time. Take care. Most wins in a season in Florida history. Take a look at that right there. 34-4. They've had multiple 30-win seasons. They've got to the Final Four, a couple of them ending with a national championship, back-to-back. Can they get back to the national championship and win it? We wait to see, but what a team this is as they rally from 10 down with 6 minutes to play. They knocked down 4 of their last 4 3-point shots after starting 5 of 20. All right, back here in studio, Adam Finkelstein, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle. Adam, you told the great story about Thomas Houck at halftime. We gave you the number that they're 27-0 when leading at halftime. I thought maybe it would be 27-1 when they were losing by 10. But the shot-making ability, and Dan touched on it as well, by Houck and Walter Clayton Jr. is elite.
It is truly elite, and I thought Walter Clayton Jr. in particular was just sensational down the stretch of this game. Remember, he did this last week, too, against UConn. UConn was winning against Florida for the vast majority of that game, and then he hits 2 of these against the 2-time defending champions as well. So this is the second time that the Gators' run could have been over earlier than expected before his heroics. And some of these shots are just absolutely ridiculous. That one's Houck. But what Clayton did, the specifics, look at that. Hand in his face. There's no hand down, man down. That's hand up, and it don't matter. That's what that one is. And this guy's shot making is so special. I'll tell you this. Earlier this week, I said I thought he was a first-round pick this year. That's a little bit of a contrarian take. People will tell you that he's a better college player than he is an NBA player. I think this guy's an absolute stud. When you can shoot the ball like that and you're becoming a lead guard, there's going to be more and more people talking about his NBA upside here in the next 24 hours.
I just want to add to that, because when you said the NBA stuff, I called Freddie Van Vliet's games when he was at Wichita State. And I got to be honest, I didn't see it. Guy's had an awesome career. He's made a ton of money.
Yep, bet on himself.
All-star. He's an NBA champion. When you were talking NBA comparison, and then this guy, like Freddie Van Vliet, just like popped in my head. Winner, took Wichita State to new heights. This guy started his career at Iona and really didn't play much as a freshman. And now he's one of the best players. He made some impossible shots. But to Adam's point, he's been doing this whole tournament. He did this against UConn. So fantastic performance. If you're a Texas Tech fan, I'm sorry. There's no other way. I'm sorry. That was brutal.
Yeah, brutal.
Was.
They had analytics said, I showed Hunter this, that a 96% chance of winning, and then Hunter, this guy, took over.
Yeah, I think, Tim, you mentioned it. The game was lost on the 2 missed 1-and-1s. I think, if you hit at least 2 of those free throws, I think Texas Tech wins the game. You know, to have Darion Williams, who's an 84% free throw shooter, miss, and then JT Toppin, who's a 70% free throw shooter, miss, that was really deflating and really gave, you know, opened the door for Florida to win. I don't understand why at the end of the game, Texas Tech didn't go back to that ball screen with JT Toppin on the overloaded side, with him going to his left hand on a cleared side. I mean, they scored 2 straight possessions on that when they really needed baskets, and then they went away from it when Florida was making that run. I feel like if they would have went to that play a little bit more, I think they would have had more success giving it to their Big 12 Player of the Year.
You know, Florida's one of those teams, because of this spurtability, like, you can't just run the ball into the line of scrimmage. Like, you got to keep scoring. Like, they got up 9, timeout, they go in the huddle. I've been there. And you're like, wait, we're going to win this game? Like, everyone starts looking around like, holy cow, we're actually going to win this game. And I felt like that happened. And then when Darion Williams, he missed his free throw in a carnival style. It was like this ding, 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 and popped out.
Yep.
JT Toppin, he had no chance. Like, when he went to the free throw line, I turned to Hunter, I go, this has absolutely no chance of going in. And he was like, he was shooting it, hoping it just hit the rim. Missed free throws, but this game was not handed to Florida. Florida went out there and grabbed it in a big way.
There was a moment at the end of the game, 21 seconds to play. They had trapped Florida half court. They were looking at a play to see if they had a shot clock violation getting over the timeline. It came down to 1 second. You saw the coaches on the sideline yelling, do not foul, we've got them. We're going to get a turnover here, because that was also a huge storyline with Texas Tech in this game. They scored 22 points off of 12 turnovers. That would have been another opportunity right there, and it's in those big game moments that they unfortunately crumbled Texas Tech.
Well, they crumbled, but the coaches were saying foul. And then when it got to 7, 8, 9 on the 10-second
right,
down.
Exactly.
So they went from foul, don't foul. Like, when you're playing, first of all, there's thousands
Yeah, what's
of people.
that like?
It's horrible.
Right.
Like, oh, God, you're trying to do anything to help your team win. But, yeah, they messed up. They shouldn't have fouled.
Yeah, because you're not, I mean, when you're playing like that, you're not looking at the shot clock when you're trying to full court press. And so, like, when they first got it in, we were saying foul, you have to foul because of the shot clock disparity. But then, yeah, like, in hindsight's 2020, I mean, at that point you don't want to foul, but the players aren't looking at the shot clock in that instance. So it was just bad luck. It was unfortunate, but, you know, those things are costly.
Momentum is a powerful thing, and Florida had it all in the last few minutes.
I gave such a great pregame speech, too.
You really did, yeah.
Gosh darn it. Lubbock, I love you. Heck of a season. Grant McCasland, one of my favorite coaches. But, hey, congratulations to Florida. Moving on as they head to the Final Four for the first time since 2014. The madness is here. We just watched madness. It was incredible. Don't miss a moment of the action on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. Download the March Madness Live app to watch every game, anywhere, anytime. We only got a couple games left, but watch them live. Florida, the 4th SEC team to make the Final Four in the last 10 seasons. No SEC team has won the title since Kentucky in 2012. So, waiting on the other side of the bracket for them in San Antonio will be either Auburn or Michigan State. You remember they played Auburn earlier in the season. Auburn was ranked #1. They snapped their 14-game winning streak. Walter Clayton Jr. was great in that game, and they won. They haven't played Michigan State this season. So, are we rooting for this SEC on SEC in the Final Four? Who do they want to see?
The best 2 teams, talent-wise, it's Auburn and Florida.
So that's like a de facto national championship right there.
I think Auburn can beat Florida. I don't think, and I'm comfortable saying this, Michigan State can beat Florida. So I have Michigan State and Florida playing in my bracket. I have Florida winning that game. When you play Florida, you got to have guys that get really tough buckets. I think Michigan State's an amazing team. They obviously have a young star, but they don't have the spurtability of an Auburn, and they don't have the guys who can get tough buckets like Texas Tech. So I would rather see Auburn versus Florida.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's pretty easy that, you know, Florida would rather play Michigan State because Auburn's clearly the more talented team out of the 2. I think Florida's more talented than both of them, but I think it's pretty obvious that they'd rather play Michigan State. I mean, Auburn is just, they're just more talented.
Guys, I'm just going to say it again. This is the beauty of chalk. When you get all the big-time matchups, because no matter who they get, it's going to be a great game. This was an incredible game. People were complaining that Cinderella didn't win in week 1. It was setting up week 2, and week 2 has been brilliant. We're about to get another brilliant game. Every game from this point on is a national championship caliber team because all the best teams have made it this far.
I mean, we could have a situation, again, we're lining up where we could have all 4 1 seeds
We're also lining up good of all 4 SEC teams.
Yeah, we were leaning. We're also.
Which
there
one
as
do you
well.
think is more likely?
Yeah.
All 4 ones. Yeah, I think that's more likely.
Yeah, because Houston can beat Tennessee.
I think that'll be tough for
That's
Tennessee.
the one where you think, right? Because you believe Alabama could beat Duke tonight. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean you gotta make 18 threes.
Yeah.
They're coming off making. It's a good time to be playing Duke after you have 25 threes. You feel really good about yourself. Like this is like exactly. You don't want to come in playing Duke and like, oh, it don't feel so good. Like you feel amazing. Like we can beat anybody. Mark Sears like feels like strong like bull. Like you feel amazing going into a game like this. So like it's the perfect time to be playing Duke.
After seeing Florida, and I know you picked them to win the whole thing, right? After seeing Florida, does this give you even more confidence in them winning the national championship, seeing what they just did?
Bro, I can't believe they won that game. That was fake. What just happened?
Right. So that
down 9 with less than
so that
4
should
minutes
give you
left.
more
Are they playing
confidence.
with house money? House money?
Yeah, this is a house money game. House money in a tournament is so important. You remember this because you're old like me. How many times did we see a team throughout before they won a national championship have that game? Right? UCLA. Like there's always like that game they should have lost. Like you almost needed to go through that game to win a national championship. For me, this was that game for Florida.
I mean, the UConn game was
totally. Yeah.
I don't think we've seen Florida's best basketball in this tournament yet. I thought their best basketball came in the SEC tournament. I think they've narrowly gotten by a couple of opponents yet. I think Duke has played better than Florida so far in this tournament, but Florida's got another level they can get to. We saw it in the SEC tournament, and that's the version of that team that can win a national championship.
Well, we will wait to see who they face. Michigan State and Auburn playing on Sunday on CBS. Florida with a first-class ticket to San Antonio, looking to cut down the nets once again. They've won 2 national championships in their school history, and man, 2 wins away from another one.